the last 4 months, the most common question I have been asked on YouTube or in stream chat has been, what gear and build should a druid run in raids? Besides arguably Chronomancer, there is nowhere near the amount of potential variety in gearing that the druid has. Depending on who you ask, the best druid gearing is Berserker, Viper, Zealots, or Magi's. So which is it? In my opinion, almost every raid group should be using Magi's for their druid. There are only two real goals raid groups can have: smooth kills or pushing times. Smooth kills means your group's goal is to clear the raid each night as wipe-free and stress-free as possible. Pushing times does not necessarily mean challenging for 10-man speed kill or low-man records, although it can be. But often pushing a time means just beating your team's personal best rather than a world record, and it usually requires at least some sort of high-risk, high-reward strategy that might cause more wipes or might cause more stress in the fight. My thought is on this matter is that the vast majority of the community falls into the first group. Almost every person who tries to complete the raids each week is trying to get through it as smoothly and trouble-free and drama-free as possible. The number of groups or guilds actively pushing for fast kill times on a regular basis could probably be counted on two hands and maybe a foot. That is to say, there's probably maybe around 150 players actively looking to push times out of an entire player base of raiders that might be on a weekly basis like 150,000. Well, I'm not going to try to define who you are, the viewer. You can do that for yourself. But I will say that statistically, if you're watching this, you're more likely to fall into the 150,000 group than the 150 group. But as always, it's up to you to decide on which one you are and which one your group is. Nonetheless, working from that assumption, I am arguing that a full heal Magi's gearing on your druids using a 4-4-2 squad composition will get the best results for the vast majority of groups. I don't need to explain too much the plus sides of having adequate healing for raids, but I will address the probable rebuttal is that someone will say, you're going to have too much healing and it's a waste of a resource. Simply put, the only thing you could potentially waste is the 7 or 8k DPS difference between a Berserker Druid and a Magi's Druid. And frankly, if your group isn't looking to push times, that DPS is completely trivial. Also, for the vast majority of groups, the extra healing is not going to be wasted, and it's likely that while your kill time for each boss might be 10 seconds longer than if you had a DPS Druid, your overall wing clear time could actually be faster due to fewer wipes and smoother runs. So, when would I use each of the four main gear types? For Magi's, like I said, I think 99% of groups out there raiding should use Magi's on their Druids. If your group, for example, kills Sabbatha with a minute 30 left on the timer, on average, there's no real advantage to switching to DPS Druids and trying to increase that kill time to 1:45 left on the timer. 1:45 is, of course, still well short of the record time unless your group has some goal like breaking 2 minutes. There's really no reason to care about the kill timer. You're way better off with Magi's and one-shotting the boss rather than trying something like double Condi Druid and wiping repeatedly in the last phase. So the Berserker Druid, I feel, is best in groups that want to push time. Simply put, it offers okay DPS along with better healing than you can get from a Condi Druid. Berserker Druid has the luxury of being able to use rice balls in its food slot that makes its healing much stronger than Condi Druid without being that much worse than Condi Druid on DPS. It won't make your boss kills any smoother than Magi's, only a bit faster. So that's really your only concern and your only real incentive to use one is if you are trying to get faster kills at the expense of being less smooth. The Kanji Druid I recommend pretty much only for Wing 1. Condition damage is especially good in the Veil Guardian and Sabbatha encounters, and the healing requirement of Wing 1 is relatively low. That said, I still wouldn't bring more than one of them, and I think most groups should still use a Magi's Druid in the other slot unless their goal is to push speedy kill times. And lastly, as for Zealot's gear, I wouldn't use Zealot's gear ever, regardless of what your group is. Now, why is that? Especially because there's people out there that are very, very fond of Zealot's gear. Well, here's why. Zealot's gear occupies a middle ground that I don't think has a reason to exist. If you just want easy, smooth kills, use Magi's. If you're looking to try to get the fastest kill time your group possibly can, use Berserker. If your group is in some weird place where you feel you're in the middle ground between smooth kills and fast kills, use one Magi's, one Berserker. Zealot's gear is expensive, time-consuming to craft, and there's no situation where Zealot's gear stands out as obviously superior to another option. So, therefore, I hope I've explained this well. I feel very strongly on this topic. A lot of wannabe elitists will say Zerker Druid or get the fuck out to make themselves feel special, but honestly their advice is self-serving and not helpful to the vast majority of the community. Thanks for watching. Leave your comments below.